at iHeartMedia.com. Watch the show streaming live. We got off to a little bit of a late start with our live stream, but we are up. You can join Dan Nation. There's an ongoing conversation on X at Dan O'Donnell Show there. Facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show. Or you can watch the show live streaming on YouTube. Be sure to like and subscribe. As the kids say, smash that like button. And grow Dan Nation, grow the Dan O'Donnell Show. As a reward, we'll give one of you $1,000. It's our Spring Green Cash Contest. The word this hour, money, M-O-N-E-Y, money. You have got until 55 past this hour to go to our website. That's newstalk1130.com in Milwaukee, WIBA.com in Madison. Enter the keyword money, M-O-N-E-Y, to be entered for a chance at $1,000. Your entry is picked at random. You, sir or madam, have won. Coming up on the show, we are following breaking news. Columbia has canceled its main commencement ceremony that's scheduled for this weekend. Could schools here in Wisconsin follow suit? Obviously, Columbia, New York, has been the epicenter of the college pro-Hamas protest camps. But since the tents have been back up since originally being cleared out in Madison, it is my very strong suspicion that the reason UW Chancellor Jen Mnuchin is negotiating with these crazies is she doesn't want to be forced, because of security concerns, to cancel the main graduation ceremony at Camp Randall. UWM has sort of flown under the radar. The chancellor there, Mark Monet, has refused to do anything about the protest encampment. That graduation is scheduled for not this weekend, but the following weekend, which would be May 18th. I think the similar fear exists there. Could you see disruptions? Could you see violence? So we will discuss all of that. Jay Rothman was on Upfront on Channel 12 and across the state, and he basically admitted, no, they're not going to have a second crack at clearing the protest camp in Madison. And it's totally cool, apparently, that UWM has just sort of decided that camping on university land is not, in fact, against the law. When it is, we have got so much more. Also, have you been following the viral man versus bear debate? We'll get into that as well, and quite possibly the scariest thing I have ever heard from a member of Joe Biden's cabinet. Jared Bernstein, chief economic advisor to the President of the United States, has no earthly idea how finances and government bonding works. Before we get to any of that, though, I have promised every single day of Donald Trump's trial, we will hear from the former president. Because of a gag order, he is totally barred from speaking about pretty much anything having to do with his trial, which, along with those college protests, is the biggest story in America right now. And because he's also barred from campaigning, because he's got to be in court every single day, save for Wednesdays, if the American people can't hear him on the campaign trail, then by God, in the critical swing state of Wisconsin, they're going to hear him on this show in his entirety every single day he speaks to reporters before court. Now, he mentioned, just as the news was breaking, Axios was the first to report the cancellation of the Columbia commencement ceremonies. President Trump stepped up to the cameras and spoke.
Are you going to testify?
I have a gag order as to that first question. As you know, they've taken away my constitutional rights, so I'm not allowed to answer that question. This has never happened in this country before. It's a ridiculous thing. It's a ridiculous case. I did nothing wrong, absolutely nothing wrong. Take a look at Greg Jarrett this morning. He went on. Take a look at Andrew McCarthy or Jonathan Turley or Mark Levin. It's like they say there's no case here. And yet the judges gagged me, and I'm not allowed to talk about, I guess, his total conflict. The judge is totally conflicted, and you ought to take a look at it. And I'm not supposed to be talking about it, but I am allowed to say that the judge has a conflict that like nobody's ever had before. you ought to take a look at it. He's taken away my constitutional right to speak. I was in Miami this weekend, and reporters are asking me questions, the same questions like you're asking me, and I have to say I have a gag order. I can't speak about it. Never happened before, ever. Number one. Number two, it's a fake trial. They have no case, and it's been absolutely proven now. They have no case whatsoever. This is Alvin Bragg doing it for political reasons for Biden. This is a Biden trial. He's a crooked president. Now, it just came out, Columbia just canceled their commencement. Axios. Columbia just canceled their commencement. That shouldn't happen. And it also came out that the protesters, many of the protesters, are backed by Biden's donors. Okay? Are you listening, Israel? I hope you're listening, Israel. Hope you're getting smart. But they're backed by Biden donors. That's where the money's coming from. And I'm not surprised at all. There's many other articles, many of them having to do with the gag order and the unconstitutionality having to do with the gag order. And it is unconstitutional, and it shouldn't be allowed. And I wish people could move a little bit quicker, the appellate courts, because the whole world is watching this, and they see what's happening. More importantly, frankly, they have no case. They have absolutely no case. It's a political hoax. It's election interference. Anything they can do, and even the witnesses they want to bring up, they have nothing to do with the case. This is a ridiculous situation. Not fair. Not fair, but we will fight. Thank you.
That is former President Donald Trump, also a criminal defendant, if you can believe that, in the state of New York, talking before going into court as this, the third week of his trial, commences. Every single day on the Dan O'Donnell Show, you will hear from President Trump as long as he decides to go on. Yes, he did get a little bit repetitive in there, but I can imagine how just absolutely outraged he is. If I'm sitting here in Wisconsin as outraged about the weaponization of the justice system as I am, I can only imagine how outraged he is as the target of all of this. Over the past several months, we have reported extensively on what's going on in the city of Franklin with respect to the Rock Sports Complex. Last fall, the tensions that had been simmering between neighbors of the Rock in Franklin and the Rock complex itself, as well as city government, whom the neighbors of the Rock claimed were not responding to them, were not even listening to their complaints, hit an absolute fever pitch with what I have dubbed Franklin's Fire Festival, an event called Tacos and Tequila that ran out of both tacos and tequila. It featured hip-hop groups and a whole lot of alcohol, until they ran out, of course. I actually went, and in the interest of full disclosure, I must say my father lives about a mile away from the Rock, and I couldn't believe that you could hear every single word, swears and all. I believe it was the Yin Yang Twins who were on stage. Well, I took a decibel meter to document just how loud, how unlawfully loud this concert got. In addition, because of the way that The Rock positioned its speakers, every single one of its Milwaukee Milkmen semi-pro baseball games had just an unfathomable amount of sound to people living in the area. The Rock made the rather bizarre decision to point all of its speakers outward, away from the baseball field, perhaps to get the attention of people in cars passing by. I don't know if they thought maybe it would be like Field of Dreams, and if they blast it, they will come. But the neighbors were furious. And the biggest reason for this was because they felt as though the mayor, the police chief, the common council, that nobody was listening to their concerns, that this had been going on for years. So eventually they got angry enough and organized enough that they started contacting members of the media. First, WisconsinRightNow.com reported extensively on this. And then when I went to Tacos and Tequila, at least outside of Tacos and Tequila to measure just how loud the event was. And incidentally, it was so loud it violates Franklin ordinances, as well as even the United Nations guidelines on what is and is not safe decibel levels for human ears. I was shocked, not only at how loud the event was. I was, and played on the air, made privy to audio and video recordings from just random Tuesday nights in the summertime of Milkmen games where you could hear the PA announcer from 1.5 miles away. I was shocked at the volume of this. You can't really hear the Miller Park American Family Field noises from 1.5 miles away. Not an apples-to-apples comparison, I completely understand. But this was just unreasonable for the people living near the Rock to have to bear. What was even more unbearable than that, though, was the level to which it seemed, as we dug deeper into this story last fall, how exactly Franklin was allowing the Rock to essentially run its own fiefdom, violating municipal ordinances, violating county ordinances with absolute impunity. It was remarkable. And this goes well beyond the city of Franklin, because this was sort of what seemed to me to be a prime example of crony capitalism, or essentially a government-sponsored oligarchy, where one favored business is allowed to do whatever it wants, while every other business has to play by the rules. We have now exclusive developments on the saga of Franklin's Fyre Fest. Tomorrow night at 6:30 p.m., the Franklin Common Council is going to meet to decide on licensing for Fyre Fest 2, the return of Tacos and Tequila. This time, though, it's not going to be a one-night event. It's going to be expanded to a two-night event. The second night, after Fyre Fest, will be something called the Phase Fest. It will be, instead of hip-hop at Tacos and Tequila, the next night will be alt-rock. They also want fireworks 10 nights after Milwaukee Milkmen game, plus the summer concert series at the Umbrella Bar. They need licenses for all of these. They need permits to hold these special events. I have learned that The Rock owes approximately $1 million to the city of Franklin because of an approximately $1 million shortfall in their tax incremental financing district, or TIF district, TID district, I believe it technically is in Franklin. This money was due on January 15th of this past year. Essentially, The Rock's contract with the city says that if the value of the property is not up to a certain level that we can tax on it, you owe us the shortfall. That shortfall is approximately $1 million. In addition, per the terms of this contract, The Rock owes 10% in interest, or $10,000, give or take, every single month. And the tab has been running since January 15th. According to Franklin's Municipal Ordinance 169-2, an entity or a person can't get a permit if anything is owed to the city. According to this ordinance, no license or permit authorized or required by this code shall be issued or renewed unless the applicant has no outstanding and unpaid personal property taxes, charges, assessments, or forfeitures owed to the city. The Rock, I think, understands that it would be violating municipal ordinance if its owner, if the CEO of The Rock, Mike Zimmerman, the developer, applies for the license himself. What I have learned he is planning to do is have a random employee apply for the permits in order to have all of these events at The Rock. The city attorney's interpretation of Municipal Ordinance 169-2 is that if you personally don't owe any property taxes or forfeitures or anything to the city, you can get a permit. In other words, because it's Mike Zimmerman and the Rock Corporation who owe this money to the city, a random employee of the Rock is somehow able to get around this through what would be the mother of all loopholes and would be able to get the permit. The Common Council is set to vote on this tomorrow night. If they vote to approve this, if they believe the city attorney, whose interpretation is rather obviously wrong, if I am Dan O'Donnell, a representative of iHeartMedia, applying for a permit to, let's say, hold fireworks for the 4th of July outside our pristine studios in Greenfield, but I owe $20,000 in property taxes to the city of Greenfield, could I then just have my producer say Dave Michaels on behalf of iHeartMedia? And here's a better example. I don't owe the property taxes. iHeartMedia, the entity, owes the property taxes. So it's not my personal debt to the city, it's our company's. Is there any fundamental difference between Dave Michaels as an agent of iHeartMedia or Dan O'Donnell as an agent of iHeartMedia? The benefit, the permit, would not go to Dave Michaels to hold a fireworks show in his backyard. It would be a fireworks show at the pristine iHeartMedia's studios in Greenfield. It is my understanding that if this decision goes against The Rock, which it should, it could then theoretically be appealed to a municipal judge. If the municipal judge has the same interpretation of the law, of the municipal ordinance, that the city attorney does, which is incredibly flawed, then The Rock would be able to get its permits even without paying its fines. Not even fines. Heck, I couldn't imagine the city of Franklin ever fining The Rock, paying the taxes that it's owed. Here's where things get a little more interesting. And I have heard from literally hundreds of you, supporters of The Rock, people who believe that I'm all wet, that I just don't care about fun, that The Rock is doing something great for the city of Franklin. I will fully admit I went to The Rock's Christmas festival. I forget what it was called, bunch of lights and stuff. It was fantastic. I've been to a number of Milwaukee Milkmen games. I think they do a great job. I think it is a net benefit to the city, but there's a big but. This organization has operated as though Franklin, not just The Rock, is its own little fiefdom, and that it controls all of the politicians, all of the law enforcement in the city. This is fundamentally wrong, and I don't think I need to tell you, completely and totally against the law. If you have a situation in which a business, no matter how big, no matter how fun, no matter how popular, is allowed to just do whatever it wants, you fundamentally don't have a government. You don't have a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. You have a government of The Rock, by The Rock, for The Rock. So people said, well, Dan, The Rock is great. Who cares? These Karens, they just, what? They think they're not going to have any noise in their backyard. Don't they hear traffic? Don't they hear music from their neighbor's backyard? Come on, you have to have a little sacrifice. How about this for a sacrifice? Franklin has a $1 million budget shortfall. Because of its contract, it was projected to take in $1 million this year that it does not have. If this money is not paid, property taxes on every single resident in the city of Franklin will likely be raised by a minimum of 5%. Not just the people who live near The Rock, everybody. Before, one could argue that this was an issue that only affects the neighbors immediately in the neighborhood of The Rock who could hear it. That's a lot of neighbors because The Rock was incredibly loud over the past few years. But now, because of this massive shortfall, if it's not paid, everyone in the city of Franklin bears the brunt of this delinquency. 5% minimum. Could be as high as 7 or 8%. We don't actually know because remember, every single month you've got compounding interest on this. $10,000 is added to the tab, and then you've got that number just exponentially growing. So my question to the city of Franklin, to the Common Council, to the city attorney, to the municipal judge, to the mayor, to the police chief, to everybody in charge in this city, again, is the exact same as it was last fall. Are you going to benefit one entity while costing the rest of your city, by definition, $1 million? Is it worth it to you to so ignore the rights of your residents to not have their property taxes go up because you have refused to enforce a municipal ordinance or are trying your best to interpret that ordinance in such a way that The Rock gets what it wants regardless of its outstanding obligations to the city? This isn't Karen's complaining about noise. Now it affects every single person in that city's bottom line. Because if The Rock doesn't pay, everybody pays. This is an exclusive story here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. We will have more on it. We'll take your calls. We'll take your texts as well. 414-799-1130. Or you can reach us 1-800-838-9476. Dan O'Donnell here for the Lynch family of dealerships. Spring is in the air and the deals are heating up at Lynch. Get this, Lynch has over 800 new vehicles on the ground ready for immediate delivery. Spring into savings with huge rebates and financing starting as low as 0%. Lynch has new Chryslers, Dodges, Jeeps, Rams, Chevys, Buicks, GMCs, and Fords on top of their fantastic new car selection. They have a huge inventory of pre-owned vehicles that come with the Lynch Protected Peace of Mind, a 3-month, 3,000-mile certified warranty, and Lynch certification that includes a 168-point inspection, plus a 10-day, 500-mile satisfaction guarantee exchange policy. The Lynch family of dealerships truly has your back, whether you're shopping for a new or used car. Huge spring savings event going on now at all Lynch locations, or check them out 24 hours a day at shoplynch.com. Dan O'Donnell here. Your home is your sanctuary, but you might be noticing the scuffs and faded colors on your walls, the cracked, peeling paint on the outside of your home. Protect your home's investment with quality painting from CertaPro Painters. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated right here. Schedule your free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. When choosing a painting professional, the choice is simple. Choose happy. Choose CertaPro Painters.
Don't let everyday aches and pains keep you from living your best life.
I don't think I really understood what people meant when they talked about pain until I started feeling it myself.
Start feeling better every day with Relief Factor, a daily supplement designed to support your body's fight against aches and pains.
Not only do I move better without pain, I just feel better.
Created by doctors, Relief Factor uses a unique formula of natural ingredients that target 4 metabolic pathways to address pain. Relief Factor doesn't just mask aches and pains, it helps reduce or even eliminate them.
Today, I do the things I love, and it doesn't occur to me to think about pain.
You can feel the difference all day, every day.
Join the over 1 million people who have tried Relief Factor's 3-week Quick Start Kit. It's only $19.95. Visit ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF. That's 1-800-4RELIEF. And feel the difference of Relief Factor.
Here's why Money Warshevsky.
Conservative thought.
Not just talk.
This is the Dan O'Donnell Show.
We have some breaking news news and some surprising news out of the city of Milwaukee. Mayor Cavalier Johnson is replacing Milwaukee Election Commissioner Executive Director Claire Woodall with her deputy Paulina Gutierrez, according to a Sunday evening email from the mayor's office to Election Commission staff. This is from the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, posted just a couple of minutes ago on jsonline.com. The change comes 6 months before the November presidential election, in which all eyes are expected to be on Milwaukee, except the eyes of the Republican election observers who they boot out of the counting rooms. Oh, wait, I just added that part. Change, especially when it is unexpected, can often be unsettling, Gutierrez wrote in the Sunday evening email. The experience of changing leadership is demanding and uncertain as we navigate uncharted waters and relearn to collaborate and communicate as an organization. Gutierrez wrote that she is building a network of people with experience in elections to support our efforts in this upcoming critical election year. The mayor has assured me that we will be provided with the appropriate resources as we move into the fall to ensure our success. The mayor's office did not immediately have a comment. Now, what just happened, that of course is not mentioned in this email, and I'll give them credit. They said this story will be updated. I assume the Journal-Sentinel will include a very relevant detail about the Milwaukee Election Commission. Any updates on what was going on in that office? Anything happen, say, Thursday, Friday? Kimberly Zapata, who was earlier convicted at trial of a scheme to get fake military ballots and send them to Assemblywoman Janelle Brandtjen in order to show her how easy it is to get fake military ballots. She was sentenced to 1 year of probation and a $3,000 fine to do that ahead of the 2022 election. It's my very strong suspicion that this is not a coincidence, that they waited until after the trial was done, and this was Claire Woodall's punishment, because Zapata and Woodall were very tight. Zapata, though, apparently went to Woodall and said, hey, this is a big loophole in state law. We need to fix this. We need to figure out how exactly we're going to deal with this. Woodall didn't want to hear it. So Zapata goes out, well, I know who's going to make a stink about this. Janelle Brandtjen, who is the Assemblywoman, she was best known for her work on election integrity. Now, obviously, what she did is illegal. Just as what the hot government guy down in Racine did to show that it's easy to get a ballot in somebody else's name. Remember, he did that. He's been criminally charged as well. And whether or not these prosecutions should be made, or my argument is when the law is broken, the law needs to be enforced. Unfortunately, the only time election fraud ever seems to be investigated or enforced is when it's someone trying to point out, hey, there's a whole lot of election fraud that's going on, and this is the way it might be able to be done. It's my very strong suspicion that the firing was most likely in the works for quite some time, that Mayor Johnson wanted Claire Woodall gone because he believed that she knew what Zapata was doing and probably waited too long or didn't say anything about it. I have no inside information on this, but it's just the timing. Once again, just like, remember about a year ago right now, when there was the huge Dominion settlement with Fox News, and then within a matter of a week, both Dan Bongino and Tucker Carlson were taken off the air. The timing would very strongly suggest that those two incidents are related, right? Like, how about this? Let's go back to November of 2022, even farther back. Donald Trump announces that he's running for president again in 2024. 5 days later, President Biden has his Attorney General, Merrick Garland, appoint a special counsel to investigate and ultimately charge Donald Trump. You have to take a look at the why. As my producer said when finding this story story. Kudos to producer Dave for bringing this to my attention during the commercial break. Never ask who, what, when, where. Obviously, you want to get the basic details of a story, but when you're analyzing it, always ask why. And more specifically, why now? The why is, I believe, punishment. The why now is that Johnson waited until the conclusion of this trial. He also waited, I believe, until after his own election in April. He could have done it before the trial started, but I think he wanted to ensure that the spring election, I'm not saying that he did this, because he wanted Claire Woodall to rig his own. He won by 80%, okay? His election was never seriously in doubt, never in doubt, in any sort of doubt, right? But he wanted to ensure that the spring election, which was a big deal, MPS referendum, the state ballot questions and so forth, went off under the same leadership. Now at least you've got, 3 months before the primaries, and then 6 months, almost exactly to the day. Yesterday was 6 months to the day from the November presidential election. You've got some time to allow for new management to take over. We'll get back to The Rock, I promise. I'm looking at the clock and seeing we are way late on time. We'll get back to The Rock. There's some other information I want to pass along to you. You're listening to the Dan O'Donnell Show. It's conservative thought, not just talk.
Each day, there's a sliver of time when you can almost breathe freely, and you feel better when you can. But you know that eventually that sliver of time closes, along with your nose. It puts a damper on your day every day. So you pop a pill or you take a spray to try to get that relief back. But it's always short-lived. And all the while, in your efforts to give yourself relief, you may be making your nasal breathing problems worse. I'm Dr. Madan Kandula, and a simple in-office procedure from Advent called balloon sinuplasty could be the fast and convenient answer to your breathing triangle problems. Advent has been a leader in this procedure, which can be hard to find elsewhere. It's simple, there's little to no downtime, and it really can be life-changing.
Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
Breathe well with simple solutions. Breathe well with simple solutions. AdventKnows.com.
Results may vary.
Life's a journey, and Russ Darrow is revving up for the ride. Russ Darrow and the places you'll go. Head to russdarrow.com to explore how they can help you get to your next adventure.
Every so often in medicine, something comes along that is truly revolutionary.
Dr. Mitchell Scheinkup, former orthopedic surgeon, now National Medical Director at QC Kinetics.
I believe this is one of those things.
Dr. Scheinkup is talking about regenerative medicine, something he's practiced, researched, and written about for nearly 2 decades.
The old ways of dealing with joint pain, such as steroids and surgery, are no longer the best ways.
If you have pain from arthritis or injury, you owe it to yourself to learn more about this exciting option, using your own body's natural power to get lasting relief. And there's no better place to learn than QC Kinetics.
There is no one in this country today with more clinics, more satisfied patients, more advanced protocols, or more experience in using this exciting option to deliver life-changing results.
Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
Church and Chapel Funeral Homes. Several locations, several choices. Church and Chapel Funeral Homes. There's one near you.
Today's Dan O'Donnell program is brought to you by Great Midwest Bank. Whether you're ready to buy, build, or renovate, Great Midwest Bank takes the stress out of paying for it. Get started today at greatmidwestbank.com.
Don't miss the grand opening of By the Yard's new showroom in Oconomowoc on Saturday, May 11. Check out By the Yard's maintenance-free outdoor furniture. Enjoy grand opening specials, food and refreshments, and free local delivery. Visit bytheyard.net for details.
Sarah, we're doing it again for Mother's Day.
We're doing it again? I can't believe we did it the first time.
It's a real rose.
An American Beauty rose.
Completely covered in pure 24-karat gold.
These are amazing!
Or you can get your rose covered in pink gold.
Real gold. Pure gold. And are you ready for this?
I'm never ready for this next part.
$99.
I need to lie down and put a cool rag on my forehead.
A full-size American Beauty rose preserved forever in pure gold.
Wait a minute.
Okay, we're waiting.
Can I buy 2 of them?
Of course.
Wait.
Okay.
Can I buy 3 of them and give 1 to my mom and 1 to my best friend and keep 1 for myself?
Of course you can, Sarah. This is America.
You'll find $99 full-size gold roses at Kessler's. Visit KesslersDiamonds.com to find the location nearest you.
Happy Mother's Day!
Do you know you need a new roof? Of course you do. For award-winning service and a free consultation, visit Klaus Roofing Systems by BuckBuckley.com. And remember, put a Klaus on your house.
If you're someone who's experiencing shoulder, spine, hip, knee, or musculoskeletal pain and a total joint replacement might be in your future, think Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Their physicians specialize in same-day total joint replacements at their own ambulatory surgery center. See orthowisconsin.com.
The global elites are waging a war on our financial freedom. They want to control our future through digital currencies and a cashless society. By eliminating cash, they can track every transaction, impose negative interest rates, and even freeze accounts at will. But patriots are fighting back by investing in physical gold. Hi, Stephen K. Bannon here. I believe gold is the answer. It safeguards your wealth better than any other asset. And even better, with a gold IRA from Birch Gold Group, you can move your retirement savings into tangible real gold without paying taxes or penalties. Rolling over your existing IRA or 401k into physical gold could be the smartest financial move you ever make. To learn more, get your free info kit from Birch Gold by texting SECURE to 989898. That's SECURE to 989898. Take a stand for your financial future. Text SECURE to 989898 right now to receive your free info kit on gold IRAs from Birch Gold Group.
Message and data rates may apply.
The free iHeartRadio app has over 100 commercial-free stations waiting for you to explore right now, like Deep Cuts. Featuring deep album tracks from iconic artists like the Beatles, Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, The Who, The Stones, and more. Just open the free iHeartRadio app, search Deep Cuts, and listen now.
iHeartRadio.
iHeartRadio. Free never sounded so good.
It is the Dan O'Donnell Show, officially endorsed by one Donald J. Trump.
Your show is a very important show, and it's a great show, and we appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. President. We appreciate you, too. Welcome back. Franklin is going to be holding a Common Council vote tomorrow night. It's at 6:30 p.m. The public is welcome to attend. And on the agenda is going to be the Rock Sports Complex permits for 10 fireworks shows after Milwaukee Milkmen games this summer, as well as a summer concert series at the Umbrella Bar, culminating with Fire Festival 2, Tacos and Tequila, which last fall infamously ran out of both tacos and tequila. It's a hip-hop concert this year, I think, featuring Ludacris, fresh off his appearance at the Super Bowl. The second night of the 2-night event that they're seeking a permit for is known as Phase Fest, which is an alt-rock festival featuring, I'm told, mostly local or regional bands. The Rock, though, faces approximately $1 million in TIF district funding shortfalls. According to the terms of The Rock's contract with the city of Franklin, the property value was supposed to be assessed $1 million higher, obviously, so Franklin could tax on the higher value. Although, even in an era where it seems everybody's property values are skyrocketing, the Rock still faces $1 million shortfall. It's still $1 million short of what was promised the value of the property was going to be on January 15th, 2024. Per the terms of the contract with the city of Franklin, The Rock owes that shortfall in cash plus 10% every single month. So every single month since January 15th, $10,000 has been accruing in interest. That interest, I believe, has been compounding matters for The Rock. I am told by multiple sources that money is starting to get tight, and there are questions as to whether The Rock can actually pay $1 million cash bill. The problem with this, and as it pertains to the financing and the permitting, Municipal Ordinance 169-2 provides that no license or permit authorized or required by this code shall be issued or renewed unless the applicant has no outstanding and unpaid property taxes, charges, assessments, or forfeitures owed to the city. If that money is not paid, the $1 million plus interest, the city of Franklin will be forced to raise property taxes to cover up this massive shortfall. I am told the minimum number that property taxes would be raised on every single resident and every single business in the city of Franklin would be 5% at a minimum. This is a time, I don't think I need to tell you, at which assessed values of properties, which is part of the calculation of property taxes at the end of the year, means that the city of Franklin is going to face a massive tax hike this coming year unless The Rock pays its debt. What The Rock is attempting to do is to get around this ordinance through something of a loophole. Franklin's city attorney is saying that, okay, well, if the owner of The Rock, Mike Zimmerman, doesn't personally apply for the license for Firefest 2 and the fireworks after the Milkmen games and the summer concert series, if he has one of his employees do it, like say a bartender or something like that, well, then the bartender doesn't have outstanding debts to the city and it would be fine. The Rock could get its permits. This makes no sense at all. It's not as though Mike Zimmerman is having Ludacris perform at his house. Mike Zimmerman is acting as an agent of The Rock. The license applicant is not Mike Zimmerman. The license applicant is The Rock. If Franklin's Common Council decides to go with this, pardon the pun, ludicrous interpretation of its own municipal code, it would essentially be costing taxpayers quite a bit of money because this is the only leverage that they have to get Zimmerman and to get The Rock to actually pay their tax bill, to say, look, you can't have Franklin's Firefest. You can't have fireworks at your Milkmen games. You can't have concerts at the Umbrella Bar. You're not getting permits unless you pay what you owe. It would seem to be a reasonable request, especially in light of the fact that it would cost residents of Franklin so much money if this money isn't paid. So tomorrow night, 6:30 p.m., we'll see if the Franklin Common Council does the right thing and enforces its own municipal code. Dan O'Donnell coming right back. We will name the unhinged liberal of the day if we have time. We might have to push it because we're also talking to Dave Spano.
Classical conservatism, contemporary style. Dan O'Donnell will be right back.
I'm Brett Ochtenhagen, owner of Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services. I frequently speak with people who are unhappy with their landscaping and they're unsure how to turn things around. Well, here are 4 tasks that will make a remarkable improvement to dull landscaping. Number 1, thick, lush green grass. We need food and water to be healthy. Our lawn care programs and irrigation systems provide your grass with everything it needs to thrive. Number 2, pruning. Regular, technically correct pruning keeps plants strong and vibrant. Number 3, plant bed edging and a fresh layer of bark mulch. There's nothing better than the look of crisp bed edges and fresh mulch. Number 4, landscape lighting. You finally have your landscaping looking its best. A landscape lighting system lets your landscaping come alive after dark. So there you are, 4 landscaping tips that amplify the beauty of your home. Please call Seasonal Services at 262-392-3444 or look for us online at seasonalservices.com.
Do you have a rotted wood window, foggy or broken glass, having a hard time opening your sliding door? Argo Glass and Windows can fix it all, saving the original look and your budget. Call us today and get a free estimate from Argo, where we repair first, replace at worst. Your one-stop window and door problem solver. Call us at 262-372-7110. That's 262-372-7110. Argo Glass and Windows, 262-372-7110.
I'm Jim Cantrell, and I believe we can show you a wiser way to build your wealth. So go to financialstrategiesinc.com and schedule a no-cost consultation.
Financial strategies, a wiser way to build your wealth.
I'm the Benefit Company's Kurt Otto. iNet Marketing is more than a marketing agency or web developer. Over decades, iNet has become a business mentor, helping businesses see pathways to increase profitability.
Advice we often give is do what makes your business money better than anyone and insource iNet to implement Grave Genius, making sure people know and choose your business. Similarly, insourcing the benefit companies for business administration is smart business.
We started seeing results as soon as our iNet website was published, and even more when we went live on the radio. This January, first implementation of new business was more than in many years. iNet marketing really worked.
Keeping businesses regulation compliant and helping implement strategic efficiencies, the benefit companies enhances business profitability.
Our brand, Steve Created InSource, is genius. iNet branding, logo design, our radio advertising accurately present our value and work.
InSource, the benefit companies. Connect and simplify.com.
We highly recommend iNet Creative Genius Marketing.com.
iNetDishweb.com.
With nearly 50 years of experience, my dad, Jim Mullally, has taught my cousin Mark everything he knows. In fact, he bestowed so much expertise onto Mark that Mark went to New York to compete against the top furniture finishers in the country. And you know what? He won. So if you're looking for the finest in furniture finishing and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. MULLALY finishing.com. The bulk of our business is in wood furniture restoration. We found that there are a lot of folks out there with antique furniture and heirloom pieces that are in good shape, but just need to be brought back to life again. Well, that's our specialty. And right here in Mequon, you'll find one of the country's top furniture finishers. So if you want only the finest in furniture finishing and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. We're no job's too small. Serving everywhere. Quality counts.
At Fleet Farm, we know every new day doesn't begin and end with us. But if it did, we've got you covered. Everyday workwear from Carhartt, Ariat, and Dickies. Everyday lawn and garden from Scott's, Husqvarna, and Miracle-Gro. Everyday tools from DeWalt, Milwaukee, and Craftsman. Whatever makes your day, we're right there with you. At Fleet Farm, we've got everything you need for everyday life.
The free iHeartRadio app has over 100 commercial-free stations waiting for you right now, like Deep Cuts, a commercial-free station featuring deep album tracks from iconic artists. Just search Deep Cuts and listen now on your free iHeartRadio app.
iHeartRadio.
Free never sounded so good.
Think identity theft won't happen to you? Think again. There's a new victim every 3 seconds in the U.S., over 15 million this year alone, and many don't even know they're victims. LifeLock alerts you to identity threats you could miss even when you monitor your credit. If your identity stolen, a dedicated U.S.-based restoration specialist will work to fix it. No one can prevent all identity theft, but everyone can save up to 25% their first year with my name, Clay, as the promo code at LifeLock.com.
Welcome back, conservatives. conservative thought, not just talk. It is the Dan O'Donnell Show. I realize I did misspeak in that last segment. I misread my own notes. The penalty on the rock each month, the interest that would accrue on the debt is not 10%. It's 1%. I kept saying 10%, 10,000. It's 1%, $10,000. 1% per month, or approximately $10,000 on about a $1 million debt. So the 10,000 number is correct. I just misspoke. It's not 10%, it's 1%. Time now to name the unhinged liberal of the day.
Make me crazy.
Trump is Hitler.
We are in pre-Nazi Germany.
Make me crazy.
All white people are racist.
Does that make me crazy?
Trump is dangerous because he's evil.
America is in over.
Today's unhinged liberal of the day is an unnamed NYU grad student who is holding a teach-in at the encampment where she was praising North Korea for training Palestinian soldiers.
So which side do y'all think North Korea supports, Palestine or Israel? Just guess. It is Palestine. The DPRK has actually never recognized the state of Israel. They have always upheld the right of Palestinian people to self-determination and resistance. And this is beyond moral and rhetorical support. The DPRK has actively armed and trained Palestinian resistance for decades. That includes the PLO, the PFLP, and the DFLP have trained troops by the DPRK. So while the US is here training the IOF with police, the North Korea is training Palestinian.
Yeah, the worst nation on earth training Palestinians is a good thing, according to that NYU student / sage elder of the pro-Hamas encampment, your unhinged liberal of the day. The oldest axiom in investing has got to be what, as we bring in Dave Spano, the president and CEO of Annex Wealth Management. Say it with me, Dave.
Sell in May and go away. Yeah, that's funny. It is old. It goes all the way back to the 1600s when the folks in London used to leave town because it used to get sticky in London and come back at St. Leger's Day, which was a horse race in the middle of September. So they would leave town for many reasons, and that thing just stuck forever. But, you think about the Stock Traders Almanac, and all of these crazy sayings that are out there. Obviously, you're not trying to time the market to get out, and obviously when to get back in. And you saw all of the data that came out last week, Dan. The unemployment rate is moving. The average hourly earnings rate was moving. And of course, that means that the Fed now kicked the can down the road once again. And now the betting odds CME has the first rate cut all the way in September. Now, you'll remember we talked about the market thought there might be 6 rate cuts in 2024, and now the first one could be in September, right before the election. And of course, that's where economics and politics cross roads, and that's what you and I will talk about in just a bit.
It sure is. Each and every week after the radio show is done, Dave and I record a new episode of The Difference. It's a podcast where we talk about political goings-on, economic goings-on, and how both impact your goings-on, your financial present and future. It's The Difference, available on iHeartRadio or wherever you get podcasts. Dave Spano, of course, the president and CEO of Annex Wealth Management, the website annexwealth.com. Coming up, the protest camps back in Madison. They never left at UWM. The UW system president apparently cool with this. We'll discuss next.
News that's factual, fair, and balanced. This is continuing coverage on News Talk 1130 WISN, Milwaukee.
Good morning, I'm Tad Allen. A man was shot and killed by a Milwaukee County Sheriff's deputy late last night. The Sheriff's Office says the man was an armed child abuse suspect wanted by Slinger Police. When Germantown officers spotted a car with the man inside, he initiated a high-speed vehicle chase that ended when the man fled the car and ran through traffic and a dog park on Milwaukee's northwest side. After authorities spotted the man at 107th and Good Hope, he allegedly refused a deputy's command and was shot and died at the scene. Officials say a knife was recovered from the scene. The deputy involved has been placed on administrative leave. The UW's president says campus protest tent communities will ultimately be gone. On Milwaukee TV over the weekend, President Jay Rothman said the university won't allow protesters in Madison and Milwaukee to continue to camp out on campus, but he didn't say how or when the university will deal with the protesters and the tents. UW-Madison sent the police in last week to clear the campus. Since then, protesters have returned, and university leaders say they're negotiating with them. The Israeli military has told around 100,000 people to leave Rafah and move to what is said is an expanded humanitarian area in the Palestinian enclave. The evacuation of eastern Rafah, which Israel says is limited and temporary, comes ahead of an expected ground assault on the city where nearly 1.5 million civilians are sheltering. Checking the WISN Sports scoreboard after being shut out by the Cubs yesterday, the Brewers next head to Kansas City to meet up with the Royals tonight. From the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin News Center, I'm Ted Allen on Wisconsin's most listened to radio station, News Talk 1130 WISN.
This is Michael Lynch from Lynch Truck Center. For the first time ever, Lynch Truck Center is having a massive construction sale on over 400 in-stock trucks, which include Chevrolet, GMC, Hino, and Isuzu. You will not want to miss it. We're adding parking, 7 more truck bays, and expanded parts storage so we can better serve you, our customer. Did you know our experienced sales staff sold more Chevrolet medium-duty trucks and cabovers than all the other dealers in the state combined? With their knowledge on upfits, combined with our service department, we deliver turnkey vehicles for your business, including the right body for your application, bin packages, and even lettered when it's delivered right to your door. As a business owner, has managing your fleet grown into a full-time job? Our fleet department can help. We provide a free fleet analysis which guides you when to trade, help track expenses for maintenance, fuel, and even vehicle tracking. You'll be shocked on the money and time you can save, not to mention having new vehicles under warranty. Visit LynchTruckCenter.com and give us a shot. We won't disappoint you.
Here's the latest forecast from the Fox 6 weather experts.
A beautifully sunny way to start our work week. A high near 68, cooler lakeside with a southeast breeze. Increasingly cloudy tonight with rain and thunderstorms on the way for Tuesday. Tuesday's high near 70. Should see some stronger storms at times. I'm Fox 6 Chief Meteorologist Rob Haswell.
This report is sponsored by Batzner Pest Control. Don't let unwanted pests invade your property this season. Say goodbye to pests with Batzner Pest Control. From regular inspections to quarterly pest control plans, Batzner's exterminators will keep you safe from pests all year long. For your free quote, call or visit Batzner.com today.
Sleep apnea is a serious condition. And the worst part about it is, because it affects you while you're sleeping, you don't know what this condition is doing to you.
And it was scary because I found out that I was waking up 145 times an hour. 145 times. I was scared. I wasn't getting the sleep I needed.
And that's the thing. Someone like John wakes up after thinking he's slept all night, and he's been feeling run down for years, and finally finds out something really is wrong. This is why, for us, solving sleep apnea problems is so gratifying, because we really are changing lives.
I've had more energy. I'm getting better sleep. I've been told from my wife I don't snore, but honestly, it changed my life.
This is Dr. Madan Kandula. Solving your breathing triangle problems means a better quality of life, and you deserve that.
Go to AdventKnows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
AdventKnows.com.
Results may vary.
Your clear choice for more. Lisbon Storm Screen and Door. Here for you all year round. Lisbon Storm Screen and Door.
Hi, this is David Wilhelm, and here I go again talking about Marvin Windows and Doors. It's our lead brand, so of course I'm going to tout Marvin Windows and Doors attributes. But when you take a look at the quality of the products that Marvin puts out, can you blame me? When it comes to exceptional efficiency and personalization, Marvin Windows are at the top of the list. Whether it's casement or awning style, single or double hung windows, advanced engineering and the highest quality construction make Marvin Windows incredibly durable, versatile, and easy to use. You can be assured Marvin Windows and Doors are built around you. And Lisbon Storm Screen and Door is one of Wisconsin's largest Marvin Window and Door dealers. For your best selection, choose your clear choice for more, Lisbon Storm Screen and Door.
Your clear choice for more. Lisbon Storm Screen and Door.
Find out more at lisbonstorm.com.
Think identity theft won't happen to you? Think again. There's a new victim every 3 seconds in the U.S. Over 50 15 million this year alone, and many don't even know their victims. LifeLock alerts you to identity threats you could miss even when you monitor your credit. If your identity's stolen, a dedicated U.S.-based restoration specialist will work to fix it. No one can prevent all identity theft, but everyone can save up to 25% their first year with my name Clay as the promo code at lifelock.com.
The free iHeartRadio app has over 100 commercial-free stations waiting for you to explore right now, like Deep Cuts. Featuring deep album tracks from iconic artists like the Beatles, Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, The Who, The Stones, and more. Just open the free iHeartRadio app, search Deep Cuts, and listen now.
iHeartRadio.
iHeartRadio. Free never sounded so good.
News Talk 1130 WISN. Be sure to listen to the Annex Wealth Management Investment Show Saturday mornings at 11 and Sunday afternoons at 1 on News Talk 1130 WISN. Annex provides its expertise to arm listeners with the knowledge and tools to invest wisely. Annex Wealth Management. Know the difference.
Listen on the free iHeartRadio app for all your music, news, talk, and sports radio. Podcasts too. Download the app. Free never sounded so good.
Watching our monitors here on Fox News in the studio. Mark Kelly, Democrat, Arizona. Police should arrest the non-student agitators on college campuses. You know those polls have got to be absolutely abysmal. Kelly is not up for re-election, but the seat being vacated by Kyrsten Sinema, who has announced that after leaving the Democratic Party, she's not running for re-election. I believe she saw no path to winning another term. That seat is up. So I don't think it's a coincidence that the other Democrat, Senator Kelly, is saying, yeah, we got to speak out against these protests. In fact, David Brooks, the somewhat conservative columnist, actually made a great point. He was on one of the Sunday shows this weekend and said when Ronald Reagan was running for governor of California in the 1960s, he effectively ran against the protests. Same thing with Richard Nixon. He won by promising what? A return to law and order. After the debacle that was the Democratic National Convention in the summer of 1968, Nixon running on a return to normalcy actually has deep echoes here in 2024. I fully expect that both the Republican National Convention and the Democratic National Convention are going to be circuses. That what's going on right now are simply dry runs for the big show, and that's the disruption of the conventions. Hey, what do you know? One of them's right here in Milwaukee. I will be there every single day of the convention. Just got my press pass and everything finalized about a week or so ago. What are you looking at? You haven't gotten yours yet? Uh-oh. I don't know, producer Dave. You might need to talk to management. I think because I'm going to need you to serve not as my producer, but perhaps my bodyguard. Yeah, the Secret Service, I don't think people are quite ready for how locked down these things are going to be. But suffice it to say, because they all learned their lesson from 1968 in Chicago. Hey, guess where the Democratic National Convention is in 2024? Chicago. Every year, it seems that there are Democrat rent-a-mobs, right? Guess what? 2024, no exception. Big story in Politico that we'll get to in just a second confirms that it's major Biden donors who are funding the pro-Hamas protest camps. And wouldn't you know it, just 3 days ago, Democrats were blasting House Speaker Mike Johnson for suggesting that Soros and his buddies, including the Gates Foundation, were behind this. Turns out, Soros and his buddies, including the Gates Foundation, are funding these protests. And they spent literally months, because this was the thing that got me. Why didn't they start right after October 7th, when you first started seeing all of these rallies in support of the terror attacks, which the pro-Palestinians swear totes weren't rallies in support of the terrorist attacks, but rather a show of solidarity for the Palestinians who hadn't yet been attacked in retaliation against Hamas. Remember, the very first pro-Hamas protest was October 8th. This wasn't a protest of Israeli occupation or aggression or anything like that. This was a protest of jubilation in support of all of the innocent Israeli kids who were murdered the previous day. But it was always weird to me, like, were they just waiting for the weather to get nice so they could camp out? No, it turns out that the leaders were being trained. Students for Justice in Palestine and so forth. They were getting funded, money from, and folks, I have been focused pretty extensively over the past several months on the sheer volume of left-wing money that is flowing into political causes and left money, dark money groups, left-wing agitation groups, and all of these different 501c3s and C4s, which should have no business doing political work anyway to keep their tax-exempt status. But all of this money, you have no clue the hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars that flows into this. It's all astroturfed. It's all bought and paid for. These are people who will go from protest to protest, and they're paid for it. In fact, I met somebody over the weekend who his roommate is classic left-wing dude, late 30s, and he was paid for protesting in 2020, and he's being paid to protest in 2024. He's at the UWM encampment as we speak, or at least he was at last check until he moves back in on his buddy's futon. None of this is real, and all of it is absolutely timed to the presidential election. We'll get into more of that, plus President Biden's impeachable conduct over the weekend. First Spring Green Cash Contest, word this hour, happy, Happy. Happy you have got until 55 past this hour to go to our website and enter the keyword happy to enter the contest for this hour. Your entry is picked at random. You win $1,000 instantly. If you'd like to join the show, 414-799-1130, 1-800-838-9476. Email me, dod@iheartmedia.com. Follow me on social media and watch the show streaming live or watch a playback at Dan O'Donnell Show on X, Facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show, and check out our YouTube channel. Also, please subscribe to the podcast. Just search for Dan O'Donnell or Dan O'Donnell Show on iHeartRadio, on iTunes Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, I think it's called now, on Spotify, wherever you can. It really helps get the word out about what we do here and the tour de force of truth that we bring every single day. The sort of truth that the rest of the media either ignores or flat out covers up. Like this, for example. Oh, sure, it's being reported on, but not as the impeachable offense it apparently is. CNN.
We begin with breaking news. CNN has learned the Biden administration has paused a shipment of U.S.-made ammunition to Israel. It appears to be the first time the U.S. has stopped a weapons shipment to the Israeli military since the October 7th Hamas attacks. And it comes amid growing tensions between the U.S. and Israel over the war in Gaza and during high-stakes negotiations to reach a potential ceasefire and hostage deal.
Now, I want you to go back almost exactly 5 years. The Mueller investigation had just collapsed, crashed and burned when the final report revealed that there was no collusion between the Trump campaign and the Russian government to quote-unquote hack the 2016 presidential election. Remember back when questioning the results of a presidential election wasn't a criminal offense. When Democrats do it totally kosher, you can have a 3-year-long investigation into it. It found nothing happened. In fact, no American, let alone members of the Trump campaign or administration, knew what Russia was doing. So Democrats immediately immediately moved on following elections in Ukraine to a phone call that President Trump made to new Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, in which Trump suggested that Zelensky investigate Joe Biden for his rather obvious pay-to-play corruption scheme under the prior administration with his son on the board of the Ukrainian energy giant Burisma Holdings. If Zelensky didn't do that, then Trump would pause aid, including weapons shipments to Ukraine. Now, the Biden administration is clearly trying to get some sort of concession from the Netanyahu government in Israel, as Israel has apparently just begun its operations in Rafah after demolishing the city of Gaza, and refugees apparently have been flowing to Rafah. But among them are the remaining Hamas terrorists and all of the hostages that Hamas has been holding for 6 months now that it refuses to free. My strong suspicion is because all of those hostages are either dead, dying, or would tell stories of horrific rape and abuse that Hamas doesn't want out there. So every single attempt at a ceasefire, do you realize every single ceasefire offer has been rejected, not by the Israelis, but by Hamas? Israel has been saying, just give us back the hostages. You're holding 100 plus hostages after killing 1,300 innocent people. Just give it back to us and we're all good. Nope, can't do it. So now the operation in Rafah is going to begin, but for the first time, President Biden is halting military aid in exchange for, or in a quid pro quo, if you want to use the language of 5 years ago when it was applied to Trump. In a quid pro quo, they want something, and it hasn't been revealed what it is, with respect to Israel's military operation in Rafah. Using the Trump precedent, though, if there is a quid pro quo there, this is an impeachable offense. Now, of course, no, Dan, it's not the same. He was looking to investigate his primary political opponent. This has a big political component to it as well. Biden's biggest weakness right now is among young people who are abandoning him in droves because they believe that his support for Israel makes him a colonizer, or whatever language that they use to describe something that they don't agree with. Israel halting its offensive in Rafah would help Biden exponentially in his upcoming election. But of course, we're never even going to dream of impeaching the president for refusing to spend money that Congress had already appropriated, when that's exactly what we did 5 years ago when Trump did it. Meanwhile, huge Politico story. The only people surprised by the fact that Biden's biggest donors are bankrolling the Palestinian pro-Hamas protests on college campus might be the writers at Politico. The headline, pro-Palestinian protesters are backed from by a surprising source, Biden's biggest donors. Literally no one is surprised by this. The donors include some of the biggest names in Democratic circles: Soros, Rockefeller, and Pritzker, according to a Politico analysis. Two of the organizers supporting the protests at Columbia University and on other campuses are Jewish Voice for Peace and If Not Now. Both are supported by the Tides Foundation, which is seeded by Democratic mega donor George Soros and was previously supported by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. It, in turn, supports numerous small nonprofits that work for social change. Soros declined to comment. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, which has previously funded the Tides Foundation and other groups, said it no longer has active grants to Tides. It also does not support Jewish Voice for Peace or If Not Now. Another notable Dem donor whose philanthropy has helped fund the protest movement, David Rockefeller Jr., who sits on the board of the Rockefeller Brothers Fund. In 2022, the fund gave $300,000 to the Tides Foundation. According to nonprofit tax forms, Tides has given nearly $500,000 over the past 5 years to Jewish Voice for Peace. Several other groups involved in pro-Palestinian protests are backed by a foundation funded by Susan and Nick Pritzker, heir to the Hyatt Hotel empire, and supporters of Biden and numerous Democrat campaigns. Another Pritzker, JB, also the governor of Illinois, serves as one of the chairs of Biden's presidential campaign. One of the other chairs, Mitch Landrieu, was on CNN's State of the Union on Sunday, where Jake Tapper grilled him on these ties.
I've seen some pretty ugly anti-Semitic incidents right where you are at Tulane University in New Orleans. Months ago, I saw that. It was caught on video. Politico has a story out this morning noting that a lot of the multimillionaires and billionaires funding the most explicitly anti-Israel groups, ones that think Israel has no right to exist, that are active on campuses, that these groups are funded by big Biden donors, the Pritzkers, the Gateses, George Soros, David Rockefeller Jr. Should they stop funding these groups? Are they causing unrest for the American people?
Well, let me say this. I think that everybody, as the president has said, needs to kind of get focused in on the very core principles of what our Constitution allows and what our Constitution protects. And that is this. Everybody has a right to protest, but they have to protest peacefully. If they're protesting violently, that has to end. There's no place for that. There's no place for anti-Semitism. There's no place for Islamophobia. Everybody has got to really get close to that, understand that, and continue to act in accord with that.
Wait a second. What Islamophobia are we seeing on college campuses? Are they not allowing Muslim kids to go to class, or is that exclusively Jewish kids? Did the Columbia Law School put out a statement saying so long as Palestinians aren't safe in the territories in Rafah, Jews won't be safe on campus? Did any Jewish groups put out similar statements saying Muslims won't be safe on campus? Also, you notice he absolutely did not answer the question. It's because all of these groups are working in concert. They want the same thing: political power for far left powerful people. I do, however, love seeing the Frankenstein's monsters turning on their creators. University of Michigan graduation. The big commencement ceremony was this weekend. Governor Gretchen Whitmer, Democrat Michigan, was there supporting her daughter. And, of course, the Nutso's founder.
How do you justify genocide? How do you sleep at night? Genocide. How do you justify? What are you doing about Palestinian children? I appreciate. What are you doing about Palestinian students at the U of M? I appreciate you raising your voice. I'm here to have a graduation meal with my daughter. How do you? What about all of the children that are in mass graves?
She said, "I appreciate you raising your voice." Okay, Governor. Okay, there was a big scene at the University of Michigan graduation. Columbia didn't even give the kids the chance to walk. They just this morning canceled their commencement ceremony. So too did UCLA. I believe USC followed suit. And a number of protesters are finding out that they won't be allowed to walk their graduation ceremony because of school-issued punishments for taking part in the pro-Hamas camps, like ASU Arizona State senior Brianna Booker, who can't believe that there are consequences of her actions.
I'm just disappointed. I mean, I'm a 2020 high school grad, so I wasn't able to walk then. And so, here it is. I'm not able to walk now.
She's laughing because there were tears in her eyes. She was literally laughing to keep from crying. She was so upset, and then asked, "Would you do it again?" She took a long pause. Yeah. Because the cause is just so important. What's going to happen at UW-Madison and University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee graduations? We'll see. And we'll also hear from UW System President Jay Rothman next.
Whether it was from a burn, heat, water, or a candle wax spill, if you have a great piece of wood furniture that has a damaged top, don't worry, because if we have to, we can refinish tops only. Other places may say you need to refinish the whole piece, but we can do better than that. So don't let your great piece go to waste. If it's just the top you need refinished, or for jobs of any size, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. MULLALY finishing.com. He was told it would cost him $1,000 to refinish his chair. But when it was done, he'd be able to sell it for at least twice that. Only to find out that he paid more to refinish the chair than it was actually worth. You gotta watch out for dishonest people out there. But not over here. With over 50 years of experience, we'll give you a good idea of the value of your piece and whether it's worth refinishing. So for honest answers, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. We're no job's too small. Serving everywhere. Quality counts.
Call Callan to remodel your kitchen or bathroom or to replace windows and doors. Callan. Design, build, live. Call 414-529-5509. Visit callcallan.com or stop at its Muskego Design Center.
Have you heard that real estate commissions are coming down? Ask your 6% broker if they're still charging 6%. Spoiler alert, they are. Before you overpay to sell your home, Google Redefined Realty. We have 15 to 20 agents, 3 local offices, West Bend, Waukesha, and Pewaukee, and over 500 5-star Google reviews. At just 3.99%, you can sell your home for a fair price and get the professional full-service MLS representation that you deserve. Don't pay 6% in such a hot housing market. It's just 3.99% at Redefined Realty for the same thing.
Wisconsin, you deserve better. You deserve stress-free quality roofing. Let Klaus Roofing Systems by Buck Buckley, BBB award-winning service, take care of you and your family. For a free roofing consultation, visit KlausRoofingByBuck.com. And remember, put a Klaus on your house.
It's happening daily. We're being conned by the institutions we used to trust. The mainstream media is distracting us with meaningless headlines instead of focusing on the harsh realities facing American families. Time is short before something big happens, and that's why so many folks are preparing. They're becoming self-reliant by investing in emergency food storage from My Patriot Supply. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com and secure 4-week emergency food kits for each member of your family. Each kit contains tasty breakfasts, lunches, and dinners, averaging over 2,000 calories per day. Save $50 on each 4-week food kit you purchase. Plus, get free shipping on Ready Hour 4-week emergency food kits. You're not ready if it's not Ready Hour Foods. At My Patriot Supply, you can also get solar power generators, water filtration units, heirloom seeds, and survival gear. Order by 3 p.m. and your unmarked boxes ship the same day. Shop MyPatriotSupply.com today. MyPatriotSupply.com.
Classical conservatism, contemporary style. It is the Dan O'Donnell Show. UW-Madison's commencement is scheduled for next Saturday, May 11th, graduation weekend. There are events Friday night, May 10th. The main commencement is going to be on Saturday at noon. Bachelor's Law and Master Degree candidate ceremony at Camp Randall Stadium, and then they break up into smaller graduation events. The doctoral MFA medical professional degree candidate ceremony is Friday, May 10th, 5:30 p.m. at the Kohl Center. And I can tell you, Chancellor Jennifer Mnuchin is absolutely terrified of disruptions at both. This is why the UW-Madison police force, along with Madison Police, State Police, and the like, did absolutely nothing after the protest camps returned once they were cleared on Wednesday morning. In fact, Jay Rothman, the president of the UW system, essentially admitted as much. He said, well, it's too much of a thing to take the camps down again. It would require mutual aid. Well, okay, so do it. And just have cops sit there and ensure that no more tents go up. Rothman was on WISN 12's Upfront yesterday.
You say the encampment is a violation of law. The tents are back up on campus. Why did the administration, why did police allow that?
I mean, I think there are limited enforcement abilities to stop that from happening. You can't have that kind of presence. It requires mutual aid.
Okay, well, I'm just going to stop him right there. It wouldn't require nearly that presence. You have a bunch of cops just stationed around the perimeter, stopping the people as they trickle back in with their tense. It wouldn't require massive police and riot gear and that sort of stuff. You keep a contingent of officers there through the next day, the following day if you have to, just walking around the perimeter of Library Mall. It's not that big of an area. It would be very easy to police.
The State Patrol was there, Madison Police were there, the University Police were there, as was Dane County was there. You can't maintain that forever, but those encampments are illegal. They are in violation, and quite frankly, there are good reasons for that. I mean, there are no sanitary facilities there. We have students and other protesters staying overnight in populated areas. There is a health and safety issue, and our ultimate goal is to ensure that our students are safe. Having those kind of encampments, as your mother told you, nothing good happens after midnight, right? So I think we really are concerned about the safety issue, and the encampments ultimately will be gone.
So what is the tipping point that would make you make the decision to move back in to clear out the encampments like what we saw on Wednesday?
I'm not going to speculate as to when that will occur and how those resolutions will come to pass. But the encampments are illegal, and ultimately they will be gone.
You know what he's focusing on, right? You know what he's hoping for? Graduation's going to be done. Classes are going to be done. Kids are going to go home. They're going to lose interest, and eventually these things will just break up on their own. In other words, the kids will be allowed to do whatever they want for as long as they want. You'll notice the UW system was apparently just fine. Chancellor Mark Monet was just fine with the protest camp on UWM's campus. And a great friend of this show, Jessica McBride, is apparently down there right now. She works with WisconsinRightNow.com. Big sign outside of the walls of the protest camp. That's right. They actually built a wall around their protest camp. These are the same people that will squeal bloody murder if you try to put a wall along America's southern border. But the first thing they do, build a wall around their camp. Sign says, "Free Palestine, no cops allowed." In other words, they've set up their own autonomous zone. And UWM and the UW system is perfectly fine with this. Meanwhile, Mnuchin, remember, put out this big, tough-talking letter. We will not even negotiate with the student leaders until the camps are cleared. Camps were cleared. Camps came back. Next day, Jennifer Mnuchin is negotiating with student leaders because they're all terrified of having graduation disrupted by these psychopaths. So they're going to at least give in to some of their demands in exchange for them staying away from graduation, even though Rothman on Upfront said, oh, the demands are totally ludicrous.
I think getting cops off of campus, no. I mean, that's ludicrous. The university police do a terrific job in ensuring the safety of our students. They're absolutely essential. I mean, so I think that one is absolutely a non-starter. I think the issues about the divestment issue generally is a red herring. I mean, the issues that are being protested are ones of foreign policy, not of university investment. So I just view that as a red herring.
No, they literally want no investment in any company that has anything to do with Israel, as they all post on their iPhones. They are ludicrous, but the point is that Rothman, Mnuchin, Monet, everyone involved in leadership at these universities is completely impotent or totally unwilling to stop these little monsters because they're so scared that they might break their favorite toy. And that is the big showcase every single year, the graduation, the commencement. They don't want to have to do the nuclear option because, again, these are the same kids that had all of their graduation ceremonies canceled, assuming they graduated in 4 years, of course. All of their graduation ceremonies canceled because of COVID-19 in 2020. Now, 4 years later, you go to Columbia, you're shelling out like $90,000 per year, and you don't get to have a graduation. You don't get to be in the cap and gown in the big stadium and everybody, the nationally recognized speaker and all that. You don't get to have it because of a tiny group of spoiled children and the incompetent adults who are supposed to be taking charge of them, but won't. It is my very strong suspicion that that exact same dynamic is going on in the UW system right now. They are worried about disruptions. They're worried about bad national headlines. They're worried about a potential violent outburst at these things. And they're begging and pleading for their little Frankensteins to not go nuts and kill their graduation. You're listening to the Dan O'Donnell Show. Man versus bear. Next. Wait, what? Yeah, you heard me.
Hi, I'm Mike Madsen, owner of Color Wheel Painting. I know you think you have a lot of choices when it comes to hiring a painter, like your hungover nephew who is home from college, or those guys who did your neighbor's exterior. Maybe you call a big sorta professional franchise and see which of their 100 subcontractors gets randomly assigned to your project. But the truth is, when it comes to painting, there's only one logical great choice: Color Wheel Painting. Color Wheel has a small team, despite the fact that, yes, we're on the radio. We have geek-level industry knowledge, specific processes, and outstanding products. Color Wheel has a system that from start to finish is personalized and guaranteed to make you proud of every dollar you invest in your home. We are the ones you need. Trust Color Wheel for interior painting, trim painting, wallpaper hanging, cabinet painting and refinishing, and even more. That's Color Wheel Painting. RemodelandPaint.com.
For more information about contests on News Talk 1130 WISN, go to newstalk1130.com/rules.
Want to sell your house fast for cash? Don't waste time listing your home. With Metro Milwaukee Home Buyer, get a fair cash offer. Choose your own closing date. No commissions or repair costs. We buy houses for cash, any condition, anywhere in Milwaukee. Go to MetroMilwaukeeHomebuyer.com.
Dan O'Donnell here for the incredible team at Mander Collision and Glass, now with 6 locations to serve you. And you hear me talk about my great experiences with Mander all the time. Here's David. I had a chip in my windshield of my 2009 Chevy Malibu repaired today. Scheduling was a breeze. Staff was great. I was in and out in under half an hour. That's the Mander difference for you. Quick, professional work with customer service that's second to none. They treat you as a valued member of the family and not just a number like some of the big national chains. It's service that you can only get with a third-generation family business, and that's why I've been using Mander Collision and Glass for so many years, and so many listeners are now discovering and have discovered the Mander difference too. You can check them out at any one of their great locations: Cedarburg, Brookfield, Heartland, Milwaukee, Muskego, or Waukesha, and start your repair today at ManderCollision.com.
Looking for fitness that fits your budget? Join Planet Fitness. Now through May 10th, you can save almost 25% a month. We've dropped our monthly membership from $12.99 to just $10 a month. Cancel anytime. With equipment for every workout, free fitness training, helpful team members, and most clubs open 24 hours, you can get energized in the judgment-free zone. Don't miss out. Get big fitness energy without the big investment. Save almost 25% a month and join today for $1 down and just $10 a month. Cancel anytime. Deal ends Friday, May 10th. Restrictions apply. See club for details.
Hi, it's John Reitz from Great Midwest Bank, and as a community bank, we sincerely appreciate our customer loyalty. Over nearly 90 years, we've done all we can to return the favor. Great Midwest Bank offers flexible solutions that bigger banks and credit unions simply can't, because our entire team is right here in the community. We love helping our neighbors when we're at work and then catching up over the weekend. Visit us at greatmidwestbank.com. Great Midwest Bank, your simply local equal housing lender.
I'm Flawless Flooring's Dave Brownsdorf. Flawless Flooring has upgraded the ultimate home upgrade experience with single point of contact customer experience and our second 5,000 square foot Lake Country Flooring Gallery at Highway 83 and 994. Flawless Flooring's luxury vinyl plank can be installed throughout your whole home over old, worn, tired hardwood flooring, even over dated ceramic bath tile or any old kitchen floor surface. With zero demolition or after Flawless's employee-only artisans dispose of dog and cat stink stained carpet. Visit either Flawless Flooring Idea Gallery, meet your single point of contact, choose from literally countless flooring options on display, and we'll eliminate stains and stink by throwing the carpeting in a dumpster right before Flawless Flooring's employee-only installers beautify your everyday going forward. Flawless's 15-month, 0% financing means you can lock in the value of today's dollar for dollars you'll earn next year, then love home more every day in between. Sensory under load, Flawless Flooring, New Berlin, Delafield, FlawlessFlooringLLC.com.
Steins Garden and Home makes the magic happen.
Now is a great time to visit your Steins store. Steins has everything you need to create the garden, outdoor living, and home of your dreams. Whether it's the largest variety and selection of plants or home decor, experience what's in store for you this season. Proudly planted in Wisconsin and growing with you since 1946.
An unsuspecting driver at a Milwaukee barbershop.
I got an apprentice here shadowing me. I'll put this hot towel on, man. About a good 3 minutes, all right?
The apprentice is Donald Driver.
So when you come here, you drive?
Yes.
Your car got seatbelts?
Yeah.
You wear them?
No.
Okay, but why not?
Because I don't want to.
But do you know you can get a ticket for that?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give you a ticket. Bet you wish you buckle up now.
Oh, my God. Donald Driver can't always be there to remind you.
Take it, click it. There we go. Click it or ticket.
And let's reduce fatalities on Wisconsin roadways. Sponsored by Wisconsin DOT.
Get started with your no-hassle refi checkup by clicking on the blue button at Accunet.com.
It's brand new, Season 2. I'm Marissa Thalberg.
And I'm Stephen Wolf-Ferreira, and we're excited to be back having bigger, bolder, and always real conversations.
Straight from the C-suite front lines of marketing, media, and more.
We have great friends joining from people you may know, like Wilmer Valderrama and Bobby Burke.
And people you'll want to know. So grab a coffee or, hey, even an Aperol Spritz and come join us on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart.
Open your free iHeart app today and search brand new.
This is a Dalalai, song by Bond, who also does our theme song, Explosive, here on the Dan O'Donnell Show in the bumper music rotation on a beautiful Monday morning. Police in riot gear have cleared the encampment at UC San Diego. Now, will the kids just wait a couple of hours and then build it right back up again like they did at Madison? We shall see. Behold, the single dumbest feminist debate on TikTok. Viral trend over the past week has men going up to women and asking them a seemingly simple question. Would you rather be trapped in the woods with a bear or a man? Now, the obvious answer would be, well, a man, right? Because a bear could eat you. But you see, this is as only Zoomers can. The nuance, you see, men are more dangerous than bears. Ha ha ha. How many men have assaulted women over the past year? And compare that to all of the deadly bear attacks in the history of the United States. And the answer should be bear. You would rather be stuck in the woods with a bear. Yeah, this is feminism, right? This is, okay, men are dangerous, right? Doesn't matter the man, just a random man. You're more likely to find a man who will physically or sexually assault a woman if you just pick all the men at random versus all of the black, brown, or polar bears. And what I'm told is black bears are... they'll just kind of, sniff you or whatever. I learned all about bears on the Dan O'Donnell Show cruise to Alaska. They do not mess around in Alaska. They say, look, you are going to see bears. You are going to potentially encounter bears. This is not a zoo. It's not a theme park. These animals are dangerous. They can and will kill you. I did not get a single warning about men that I might encounter. Hey, don't walk alone in the woods because you might be raped. I am told if you encounter a polar bear, just prepare to die. Those things are insanely vicious and they'll attack anything. It's, what is it? If you encounter a black bear, do this. If you encounter a brown bear, do this. If you encounter a polar bear, pray. Because that's how dangerous those damn things are. So the debate is meant to illustrate just how dangerous and predatory men can be towards women. But I had a thought in all of this. Now let's take this thought to its logical conclusion. Men are dangerous and predatory. So dangerous and predatory, in fact, that you would rather be stuck in the woods with a bear than a man. Can you libs now see why we don't want men dressed as women in the same locker rooms, showers, and bathrooms as our daughters? Would this not, taken to its logical conclusion, be the best possible argument against men in women's spaces? Men are dangerous, right? Even if they say they're women, they still potentially have the same biological urges as a man who's dressed in hiking gear and would be in this hypothetical trapped in the woods with a woman who, rather obviously, according to the diseased leftist brain, he would rape and then potentially murder, because that's apparently what all men do. But if they put on a dress, if they have a surgery or two, if they start taking estrogen pills, then they're totally safe to be in an area not where women would be dressed in hiking boots and, Columbia sportswear with a North Face fleece, but naked in a locker room. Then it's totally fine. This is what you always have to do whenever something just sort of sounds ridiculous on its face. It doesn't have to be a stupid little viral challenge on TikTok, but liberal policy. Just see it through to its logical conclusion and think about it and apply the same logic or lack thereof that liberals use in a different scenario. And you'll find that oftentimes when taken to their logical conclusions, liberal policies make no earthly sense. You're listening to the Dan O'Donnell Show. We'll be right back in just a second with more conservative thought and not just talk.
Okay, when I say metal roof, what pops into your mind? If the first thing you see is a barn with a rusty old roof, then I've done a terrible job, and you could be missing out on an awesome opportunity. Hi, this is Jack again from Metal Roofing Systems. Our designer metal roof is probably like nothing you've ever seen. Every week I have a new customer tell me how much they love their new metal roof. They say, I can't believe I waited this long. And wow, what an incredible transformation. And even, I've fallen in love with my home all over again. Please let us show you how a permanent metal roof can make your home brand new again. Not only that, you'll keep your home cooler and reduce energy costs, and best of all, you'll never have to talk to a roofer again. Ever. You can see pictures of homes just like yours at our online showroom, BeautifulRoofs.com. Or better yet, you can get a free estimate by calling Carrie, toll-free, 855-678-ROOF. Remember, BeautifulRoofs.com. Thank you.
This is Michael Lynch from Lynch Truck Center. For the first time ever, Lynch Truck Center is having a massive construction sale on over 400 in-stock trucks, which include Chevrolet, GMC, Hino, and Isuzu. You will not want to miss it. We're adding parking, 7 more truck bays, and expanded parts storage so we can better serve you, our customer. Did you know our experienced sales staff sold more Chevrolet medium-duty trucks and cab-overs than all the other dealers in the state combined? With their knowledge on upfits, combined with our service department, we deliver turnkey vehicles for your business, including the right body for your application, bin packages, and even lettered when it's delivered right to your door. As a business owner, has managing your fleet grown into a full-time job? Our fleet department can help. We provide a free fleet analysis which guides you when to trade, help track expenses for maintenance, fuel, and even vehicle tracking. You'll be shocked on the money and time you can save, not to mention having new vehicles under warranty. Visit LynchTruckCenter.com and give us a shot. We won't disappoint you.
Jay Weber here. If you're someone who's experiencing shoulder, spine, hip, knee, or musculoskeletal pain and a total joint replacement might be in your future, think Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Find them at orthowisconsin.com. At Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin, their physicians are committed to providing the highest quality of joint care and specialize in same-day total joint replacements at their own ambulatory surgery center in Pewaukee. You can find them at orthowisconsin.com. orthowisconsin.com. Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. There is a difference.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for less. And for a limited time, new customers receive their second month free when they sign up and use promo code MONTHFREE by May 31st. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
The choice is yours. Spend your weekends with a lawn chair and lemonade, or with a hose, mop, and bucket of soap. Hi, this is Terry Lodwick, owner of All-American Window and Door Company. Spring reveals the ugly grime on your home's exterior. All-American Window and Door has the solution to your headaches. Easy clean windows and doors and beautiful maintenance-free siding. Get your project started and hit the beach, not the ladder. We make it easy. All-American Window and Door Company. 262-255-7170. Estimates are free.
Hey, it's Jesse Kelly. Are you still on the fence about owning gold? It's time to pull the trigger with the Oxford Gold Group and buy gold and silver. Nobody can predict the future, but we can't put our head in the sand either. The Oxford Gold Group are the pros. They make owning gold and silver simple and easy to understand. Call Oxford Gold Group right now and you may qualify for up to $10,000 in free precious metals. Call 833-995-GOLD. That's 833-995-GOLD.
Inflation, market volatility, global unrest, a presidential election. You're not alone if you're feeling stressed about your investment and retirement planning. Take control with help from Annex Wealth Management. We'll build a plan that works for you, your family, and your investment and retirement goals. Annex offers financial planning at every level. Just starting out, there's Annex Ignite. If retirement is on the horizon, Annex Comprehensive Wealth is a great fit. If you've got high net worth and complex planning challenges, consider Annex Private Client. Know the difference with a fee-only fiduciary. AnnexWealth.com.
Want to make your yard the envy of the neighborhood? Tune in to Brett Octenhagen's Seasonal Services Designer Yard Show to learn landscaping secrets. Visit seasonalservices.com and listen on News Talk 1130 WISN, Saturdays at 1 p.m.
The free iHeartRadio app has over 100 commercial-free stations waiting for you right now, like Deep Cuts, a commercial-free station featuring deep album tracks from iconic artists. Just search Deep Cuts and listen now on your free iHeartRadio app. iHeartRadio. Free never sounded so good.
Portions of the following program were pre-recorded.
Conservative thought, not just talk. This is the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Welcome back. Saw a rather interesting stat about the NBA playoffs, which the Bucks were eliminated from unceremoniously by the Indiana Pacers last week. Of the remaining 8 teams in the NBA, guess how many starters are over the age of 30? None? Not quite. 6. Rudy Gobert, Drew Holiday among them, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, I believe, is another, but only 6 starters are over the age of 30. I just found that incredible. I mean, just doesn't that seem like, I mean, it's a young man's league now. It's always been a young man's league. It's only the very best players in the world that even survive at the highest levels of the NBA until after 30. Baseball is a little bit differently because a lot of players don't come up until they're 25, 26 after spending some time in the minor leagues. A lot of kids graduate from college, they'll be drafted, and then, it takes them a couple of years to work through the minor league system. Football, typically younger as well. I mean, name me a starting running back in the NFL that's older than the age of about 28. It's rather difficult. One of the questions I think I get asked most often when I go out and meet people or do speeches or things like that is, how did you get involved in broadcasting? How did you decide that this was going to be your career? Because let's face it, it's relatively unique. And I always tell them that I decided that I wanted to do a political talk show after 9/11. My love for broadcasting, though, actually started a few years earlier than that. As you know, I graduated from Whitnall High School in 1999. And while I was there as a high school sophomore, we had to do one of these career aptitude tests where they sit you down and ask a bunch of questions and you fill out on the little Scantron what you're best suited for. Mine said lawyer. And I said, well, that makes sense because both my parents are lawyers, my grandfather's a lawyer, I've got a couple of lawyers as uncles. It's sort of the family trade, right? The practice of law. So I had to write an essay for my honors English class. And I wrote a paper, I still remember it. I called it A Lawyer's Life for Me. You had to write about why you agreed with or disagreed with your career aptitude test. And they turned it into a writing assignment, which I thought was great. We wrote a lot of essays in honors English and I didn't really think anything of it. But still, to this day, in sophomore year, you have to take speech class. And second semester, I took honors speech with Mrs. Clark. And I always knew I was kind of outgoing. I was a really shy kid, believe it or not, until about 5th or 6th grade. Yeah, I was 5th or 6th grade. Hand to God, I was not a particularly loud or boisterous younger kid. Once I started approaching puberty, I got the class clown bug, and it never really left. But in Mrs. Clark's class, I actually kind of found my niche. I mean, for the first time, being a loudmouth meant I could get good grades. I loved every second because we had to do different types of speeches. We had to do a commencement speech. We had to do, believe it or not, a radio commercial. And I still remember what I did. To this day, it's more than a quarter century ago. We did a radio ad it was a takeoff of Scope mouthwash. It was Scoop mouthwash. I have no idea how my partners in this project and I, some of whom I'm sure are listening right now and could remember this better than I, but we did Scoop mouthwash. We had to do an impromptu speech where you would just pick a topic out of a hat and give a speech on it. And Mrs. Clark would be sitting back there with her timer, which was strictly enforced. You couldn't go over your allotted time. You couldn't go too far under. And she would hold up a sign every time you said or or ah. She would hold up the sign in the back of the class. And every time you were penalized, you would actually lose a point for every or you said. I loved that class. I'm fairly certain I got an A. I loved it so much, and I loved Mrs. Clark so much, I took her broadcast journalism class my second semester of senior year in high school. And if I loved speech, I really loved broadcast journalism. Working with the entire class to produce a TV newscast on VHS tapes back at the time. Mrs. Clark had a full studio along with Mr. Soroka, who was the AV specialist at Whitnall. They turned my eyes onto an entirely new career that I was aware of, but never, I think, realized could be something for me. I was selected by my classmates to be the anchor for the newscasts that we produced. Now, they were supposed to switch anchors. We produced 2 or 3 newscasts. I was the anchor for both of them because Mrs. Clark and the other kids thought I did such a good job. I loved it so much, I actually volunteered on Monday nights to film the school board meetings and broadcast them on local access TV. I was running the camera, I was directing. I couldn't get enough broadcasting. So much so that when I went to Marquette University's campus the following fall, I immediately signed up for the Marquette television and radio stations. And it was all because of the passion that was discovered for public speaking in speech class and then for broadcast journalism my senior year. Mrs. Clark, Jim Leslie Clark, passed away last week at the age of 76, and her funeral is going to be this weekend. She was, I dare say, one of the greatest inspirations I've ever had in my life. And I was fortunate enough to see her years later and tell her that, where she gave me a big hug and told me how proud she was of me. Mrs. Clark, I hope I always will make you proud. Thank you so much for everything. We are out of time here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. Thank you so much for listening. Back tomorrow, 9 a.m.